Hey gang, what's up? Welcome back here to another edition of Mental Mondays, and thanks for taking some time to check today's video out. Welcome back all the regulars, and if you're new to the channel, this is something we do once a week here on Intuitive Angling that most of the time doesn't have anything to do with fishing. It's just sort of a fun departure away from the fishing tips to help stretch your mind a little bit. So welcome back here. Guys, today we are definitely going to have something that's going to stretch your mind. We're going to be contemplating and talking about the topic of infinity and how difficult it is for people to wrap their logical mind around that concept. I love talking about stuff like this. To me, it's like when you have idle time and have free time to do it, it's almost like it's one of it's hard to explain. It's almost like it's therapeutic to some degree. It's mysterious to some degree, and it activates part of your brain that normally doesn't get activated when you think about stuff like this. So sort of want to give you my theory on it. First of all, let's talk about the known universe. According to the experts on the field, our known universe has been here for about 4.5 or 5 billion years, give or take a few 100 million years. That's pretty much the general consensus. And the general consensus is that our known universe, just the universe that we have been able to tap into, from our technology as far as the vastness of it, is almost 14 billion light years across. Now, guys, when you're talking about terms of infinity, if you figure that a light year is 186,000 miles per second. So if you traveled at 186,000 miles per second, it would take you 14 billion years to get across just our known universe. For all practical for all practical reasons, that is infinity. 14 billion years traveling almost 200,000 miles a second is infinity in my mind. And like I said, our rational mind cannot comprehend that. You almost have to comprehend that from some type of a spiritual level, because our rational mind simply can't do that. And when you're talking in terms about like that, I think one of the first things that comes into people's people question as far as other life forms out there. And when you're talking about, there are literally trillions of galaxies like our own Milky Way galaxy, with hundreds of trillions of similar, planets to what we have here on Earth. I don't think any logical, rational, critical thinking human being can doubt the fact that there's not vast forms of other life out in this universe. There's no way that we out of really a undefinable number of galaxies and planets and stars out there. There's no way we're the only ones out there. That absolutely doesn't make any sense at all. So I love contemplating stuff like that. And one of the things that I sort of think about that is that we try to think in terms of other life forms being like ours, carbon-based life forms, in the human form that we are. But more than likely, when you talk about the vastness and the infinite nature of the universe, more than likely, a lot of the life forms that are out there, we probably wouldn't even recognize. The same what they probably wouldn't even recognize us. The life can take on so many different forms and experiences out there. I think a lot of times we try to relate that just to our own, and it probably, again, it's just one of those things that we can't even wrap our mind around as far as the mystery of life with that. But there is also no doubt that there's probably millions of planets out there very similar to ours, that have very similar type of environments, that probably have some type of form that we can relate to. It just sort of stretches your imagination to think about that. And the point of that is, how much time should you spend thinking about that? Is it even important? And then again, that is one of the mysteries of life. And that's one of the things, my son Elijah always asks me these super deep questions, even at 6. He just turned 6 today. And one of the responses I give to him is like, do you know what a mystery is? And, I'll explain to him, and it's like, some things are just mysteries that we don't know, and that's okay. It's okay for some things to be mysteries. And I think that one of the reasons that we have not had contact with any other type of life forms out there, and probably won't, in my opinion, is I think that maybe is by design a little bit out there. It's almost like if we tapped into some other type of a reality or existence, it would maybe take away from what we're here to learn in our own particular existence. I mean, that's theoretical with that, but I think that those vast distances between galaxies and planets that can actually sustain life that we can relate to, I think it's almost like that's by some type of design that we've been placed that far apart from each other out there. But it ultimately it gets back again just to the wonder of life. I mean, this never-ending dance that we are on, as far as being self-aware and having some type of an eternal being to ourselves. When you talk about life and the meaning of life, it's like you've got two different perspectives to some extent. You have, on one end of the spectrum, you've got some very strict people that have strict religious beliefs that are just that. They are beliefs that are not backed up in any type of evidence and fact. And then on the other end of the spectrum, you have people that don't think that basically think everything within the universe is some chaotic random events that have just coincide perfectly to create the life that we are aware of. And then you have everybody in the middle with that, and ultimately nobody knows. I mean, that I don't care if you're the most astute spiritual mind out there, or if you're the most intelligent scientific mind out there. Nobody really can understand what really that means in the eternal spectrum out there. But one thing I do know about life is that one of the basic laws of physics is that energy, which we are energy, cannot be created or destroyed. It just changes form, which tells me that we are on this eternal dance out there. And as much as we try, I don't think that it's meant to be overanalyzed that much. I mean, I really don't. I think that we will find out in due time, what our next adventures are here. But ultimately, I think the more that we think about that and the more that we focus on that, I think the more that we take away, from the life experience that we have here on Earth. Because you think about it, guys, if you think about how much you had to overcome to actually be here on the planet. It's like when you figure, when you were just like, when you were a fertilized egg, think how many millions and millions of sperm cells had to get to that egg just at the right second to create you, and what happened to all those other millions and millions of sperm cells. So from that odds, it's like you've overcame some tremendous odds just to be here on this planet, and then to be able to be watching this video right now, to be self-aware of yourself, to be thinking. It's wondrous. I mean, it's one of the most wondrous things that we have in this universe. And like I said, I don't really care for people that try to tell me they've got the answers. And I don't it doesn't matter if there's some evangelical religious person that tries to tell me that they're right and I'm wrong, or if it doesn't matter if it's some astrophysicist that tries to tell me that he's right and I'm wrong. I don't really care about that, because the only thing that matters to me is the here and now, the experience that we have, the mystical, magical wonderment of being here. And you don't need to overanalyze it out there. I think one of the biggest things that we have to remember here is that stick with your true forms of intelligence. And your true form of intelligence that every single one of us has, and we may have swept it under the rug, is your kindness, your compassion, your empathy, your awareness, your consideration for others, your consideration for other creatures, how you treat other creatures, how you treat the planet. Focus on those things that you can control, because you can't control how big the universe is. You can't control, what is down the road. The only thing that you can control is how you interact with people and creatures you share this planet with. And if you do that with integrity, and you do that with foresight, and you do that for the higher good, and your intentions are good and your intentions are pure, you're going to be just fine with that. So anyway, contemplate infinity. I think that's one of the healthy things to do, guys. Don't get wrapped up. Don't get locked in. If somebody tells you they got the answers, let it go in one ear and out the other, because they don't. I don't care how adamant they are about it. Nobody knows. That's just the reality of the situation. And just really appreciate and enjoy being here in the moment on this planet right now, in this part of the universe that we're in. So because it's pretty special. So thanks for tuning in. We'll talk later.